I was very thankful to find this picture of this beautiful angel right here. And to be honest, now that I got to see the picture, let me back it up just for a second. Now that I got to see that baby's picture, like it really sits a lot better in my heart that we can actually pay tribute and homage to this beautiful soul. How we even get here, I know I'm going to say some things that might not sit well with people's sensibilities, but just understand that I have a method to this and I'm saying it for a reason in hopes of curving this behavior so our children won't have to go through crap like this. Let me give you a disclaimer. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. All right, let me go ahead and get these pictures back up on the screen for you guys. Now, if you read the title and you look at this face right here where it says evil grandmother, I'm not calling her evil. I'm referring to her as evil because of what someone else who knows her called her. And there was a man that is pretty familiar with her that said that she's probably one of the most evil women he's ever met. And I guess I'm not really shocked by that because if you look at this woman and it looks like her hairline looks like it's trying to run away from the rest of her forehead. Let me go back here. Like you can see like where that white line is going off the top of her head, like way back here, like if she was in the army, she'd have to salute like this. Yes, sir. Right? Way back there. Like way back there, like if you had the nosebleed seats, if you was at the basketball game. That woman hairline is way back here. And I'm just saying, like, when you look this bad, when you're that freaking wide, and that's a pretty big room, and it looks like she takes up at least about, maybe a third of that big old huge room. That is a big, unattractive woman. And I'm not just being mean to be being mean. I'm getting this from Greensboro.com, so thank you for the article. Not for the commentary, but for the article. But this woman, and the reason why I dog her looks, first of all, I don't know why people come in my comment section and they defend these people. And I tell you, I'm like, hey, you do know that this person killed a child, right? And they'd be like, well, you didn't have to talk about how ugly she looks. And I'm just like, who gives a crap? She killed a child. And I want y'all to take a look at this baby. I want y'all to take a look at this baby's face. And also, let me give a shout out to my friend before I forget, Illicit Deeds. Thank you for sending me this story so early. Shout out to Illicit Deeds. And you look at this baby's face and you ask yourself, what could this baby have done so wrong to deserve a demise like this? When you hear the extent of her injuries, you're not going to feel bad that I talked about this woman who literally looks like she could kill a fish with her eyeballs just from looking at people like that. This woman is the true epitome of evil. Let me tell you what they said about her. A local woman is accused of assaulting her granddaughter. This ain't her kid. Her granddaughter. So you'd have to wonder, where was the biological mother at? So violently that the child will not see her third birthday, which would have been this Sunday. The beautiful black queen, sorry, my pro-black people out there. The beautiful black queens, her name is Ruby Charlotte Lett Thomas. It's spelled CharlotteLette. They gave her a stupid middle name too. They said she turned 59 years old. This woman literally looks like she's, I would have put her at like, 70? At least 70. She showed little to no emotion when appearing in court Thursday afternoon by way of a video link from the Gulliford County Detention Center. She was jailed with no bond, and you will not disagree with that when y'all hear the details. She's gotten charged with first-degree murder and felony child abuse in connection with the child's death on April the 1st, according to Greensboro police. An arrest warrant was issued April 18th. April 18th for Thomas identifies the child as, I think her name, the baby's name is Sade Wilhite, because it's spelled like shade, S-H-A-D-E, but I think, if I know black people like I think I do, I think it's Sade. I don't think it's shade. I think the baby's name is Sade Janelle Wilhite, right there. Beautiful angel. They detail her extensive injuries, which include, brace yourself, bleeding on the brain, around her spinal cord, and on the inside of her eyes. She also had rib fractures, injuries to her face. There were injuries to her back, lacerations in her mouth, and an abrasion on the back left leg, and more than 50 contusions. I'm going to read through this baby's injuries one more time. Her injuries included bleeding on the brain, around her spinal cord, and on the inside of her eyes, rib fractures, bruised intestines, which I skipped that part, hemorrhaging to the scalp, I missed that also, skull, around the ribs and back, injuries to her face, lacerations to her mouth, and an abrasion on her back leg, and more than 50 contusions. That's the part that I want people to play back. And when you leave your comments in the comment section, if you say anything about me talking about this idiot's looks, then I want you to tell me what this baby, who didn't even get a chance to see her third birthday, who couldn't speak for herself nor defend herself against the tyranny of grandma, her beastly looking grandmother, tell me what that child did to deserve that. How do you justify that? How do you justify going to that extent? There's nothing a baby could have done for you to literally like beat this child up like Floyd Mayweather in a punching bag or something. It's flat out ridiculous. Chief Assistant District Attorney Chris Paris said in court on Thursday that the girl's 5-year-old brother told investigators his sister had thrown up in the bed that they shared. That's pretty common. Babies need to eat, sleep, go to the bathroom. They're going to cry. They're going to have bowel accidents. That whomever is caring for these children, like I feel like I'm like I feel like I'm saying that like that's not common knowledge. I'm sure most of all of us already know that, but it's like people will have these children either babysitting them or have them in their custody, and they act like they don't know that these are basic things that you'll have to do in order to take care of a baby. And I'm gonna try my best not to cuss, because y'all know I want to cuss so bad. Because I'm so pissed off about this story. Like, that is such the most common thing. There's certain things that you know you're going to have to do when you have a baby. Period. This is a terrible woman. Matter of fact, it kind of makes me think back to slavery times. And let me explain what I mean. We speak about slavery as if it was a bad thing. It was a bad thing, right? And if it's so bad, then why is it that the people who come from the lineage of slavery, who said it was so freaking bad, that the white man done this, done that to us, and then put us through all of this stuff, and then we turn around and we inflict that same hate, same violence, same ignorance on our babies. And this is 2023. Not the 1820s. This ain't the 1600s. Sorry. I don't get it. This baby had to die because she threw up. It's a baby. Babies throw up. Last time I checked. He also told, the little brother also told them about something he had said happened hours earlier. And this is why I love the innocence of children. This is a 5-year-old baby saying this. Check this out. He said, Grandma pushed her down the stairs. This is a 2-year-old baby. Matter of fact, let me throw it out there like this. Guess what she would have grown up to become if she would have made it into her adulthood? This baby would have been a black woman. So if we're always talking about the disrespect of black people and black women, then why is it that I see this many black women that I can continue to put on my screen that treat little girls like shit? That treat them like they're nothing. But we get mad when other people might say things about us or might view us in a certain way or might stereotype us, which doesn't physically do anything to us. But we can treat our kids like you can't even legally treat a dog like that. You could go to jail for a bunch of years if you treated an animal like this. Let alone a mini baby black queen. This woman pushed this child down the stairs. The boy told investigators that his sister had been touching the outside of an aquarium and got a whooping, a spanking, whatever you want to call it, for messing with the fish tank. He was not punished, he told investigators, because he was being good that day. The 5-year-old boy has been removed from the home and placed in state custody, detectives said after Thursday's court proceedings. Let me say that again. The 5-year-old boy was removed from the home and placed in state custody. What does that mean? For all my people who've watched my channel long enough, what exactly does that mean? And I'm sorry for the foul language, y'all. I'm sorry. I could not be face to face with this woman. I'd be in jail. If I was the biological parents, I'd be in jail. Oh, that's right. Where the hell are the biological parents? Huh? Thank you, Robbie. Where are the biological parents? So they said they removed the child from the home and placed the child, according to Greensboro.com, in state custody. How can that happen if you have a biological mother and biological father? Where the hell are they at? Where's the biological dad? Are there two different dads? That would have maybe given you two different opportunities. In the black community, we tend to have a lot of children outside of wedlock, and we tend to have a lot of children when it comes to our sisters with more than one man. So just based on the numbers, based on the likelihood, I'm going to assume that these children had two different fathers. So that would have given you at least 3 parents that could have took custody of this child. So where were they? Did they lose custody? And if they lost custody and custody was passed to the grandmother, the next of kin, which is usually what you want to do in the system when bad things happen like that, then you'd have to ask, who really failed this child? Who really failed this child? It was the biological mother and biological father's responsibility to take care of this baby, that it never ended up in her possession. The reason why I talked about how unattractive she is because this woman is probably lonely. This woman knows that nobody desires her because she ain't never took care of herself. Like, she just looks like she smells bad. Like she looks like she smells like an old can of peas that's gone bad. Like, if you ever just took like a potato and just set it out on the counter and let it rot, like, she looked like she'd smell like that if you left it out for like, I don't know, maybe 8 months. She just looked like she smells bad. But you'd have to ask, like that, like there has to be hate in your heart. Like nobody probably likes this woman at all, and she turned around and took that out on these children. Just because she felt like she could. The infallible mentality. And that's the problem when you don't hold people accountable, especially when it comes to women. Not after woman bashing. We're just saying in general, not all. But when you don't hold women accountable, they grow up with this mentality that they think that nothing they do is wrong until a child ends up dead. As long as the child ain't dead, they don't go to jail, they don't get reprimanded, they don't get investigated, nothing happens. Let's keep going. So the little boy is in state custody now. When asked about the children's parents, detectives said that the parents were not active in the children's lives. The biological parents are not active in the children's lives. These children were doomed. Here's the more messed up part. We have all of these different methods for contraceptives that you don't have to have children. But since we're just beings that absolutely have to be having unprotected sex out here, raw sex out here, catching diseases and all kind of other stupid crap, that we act like we don't know any better. We have day after pills, we got condoms, we got Nuva rings and shots, depot shots and all kind of stuff. So you could have figured that out after you already had the little boy, but you turn around in 24 months and had yet another kid. Why? When you clearly weren't prepared to take care of the first, but you get to have a second. Can we get a hashtag TTO and TTT in the building, please? This is why I believe that you should have to have a license to produce children. The same way that you have to have a license to ride a motorcycle or ride a car, you should have to have a license and qualify to be a parent. The basics. Greensboro Police Department spokesperson Josie Camberry said that there is no record of any other child abuse calls at the address, and police have not previously charged Thomas with neglect or child abuse. So nobody could be immediately reached by telephone at Child Protective Services. They're not going to say nothing anyway, so it don't even matter. At about 7 a.m. April 1st, officers responded to a medical-related call at the home in the 400 block of 2yr-old Street and found a 2-year-old girl suffering from apparent cardiac arrest, according to police. Life-saving efforts were started at the scene, but the child was declared dead upon arrival at a local hospital. A man who placed a 911 call that morning said he went to wake up his grandkids and a baby girl did not wake up. She's cold, he told a dispatcher. The dispatch provided CPR instructions until paramedics arrived. Medical staff and detectives noted signs of potential child abuse, and the police department's Family Victims Unit began their investigation. Through the investigation, detectives confirmed the child suffered from non-accidental trauma while in the care of grandma. A GoFundMe page was put up. Let's talk about the GoFundMe. I hope you guys can see that. I think that's a $5,000 GoFundMe. I think it's raised some more money since then, so it's a little bit more than $900 right now. But actually, let me bring up a bigger version so y'all can see this. Give me just a second. If you guys are watching, do me a favor and please hit that thumbs up and share this video. That's not the right one. Why did I bring this one out? That is not the right one. This is the right one. Right here. So, top right corner, they had a $5,000 goal. I think they've raised a little more than $1,000 now, I think. But Shantae Brown is the organizer on behalf of Mary Green. Here's why I'm concerned. The police said that the parents, plural, parents, are not active in either of these children's lives. So one would have to ask, if the grandmother, who seemed like she had custody, I guess, if they had to remove the other child, so it sounded like she had custody, who is Mary Green? Who is Mary Green? Is that the mom? Is that the biological mom? I don't know. But this $5,000 GoFundMe is going to a person by the name of Mary Green, whoever that is. But how much sense would that make if that was the biological mother? I don't know it for a fact. I'm just guessing because they didn't specify. How much sense would that make if even the mother wasn't active in this child's life and they're going to turn around and give her $5,000 because her child got killed? So you're going to pay her for bad mothering, bad behavior? For not being an active parent? How does that make any sense? Matter of fact, in most states, the state will pick up the bill when there is a murder investigation, especially when it comes to children, underage children. Not in every state, not in every county, but I think in most places, they'll pick up the bill, especially for the funeral. So why would they need a GoFundMe here and be giving it to this person who was not a caretaker of the children? Just don't make any sense to me. Let me give you guys the fair use. I don't know. Maybe I'm saying too much. Maybe I'm saying too much. They're saying that, oh, oh my God. They're saying that there were 3 siblings. The GoFundMe page said that the little girl had 3 siblings. 4 kids. And no, they did not state what the relationship is. That makes absolutely no sense. 4 kids. No active parents. The mysterious Mary Green. That is so weird. Thomas will be appointed a public defender and will remain in jail without bond. No bond. Prosecutors asked that Thomas not be allowed to contact, direct or indirect, with any of the girl's siblings or custodians of the children or Thomas's 17-year-old daughter. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. When you guys get a moment, if you would, do me a favor and please click that thumbs up to this video. It'll share, let more people see it. So if you're looking at the number of people who are watching right now, we want to have at least 1 thumb up for everybody watching this video right now. So please, please hit that thumbs up. I want y'all to hear from this man right here. Let's get it.
First tonight, a woman has been charged with the murder of her 2-year-old granddaughter. She was in court just hours ago.
WFMY News 2's Amber Lake was in the courtroom and joins us live now with this alarming, detailed story. Amber.
In court just a few hours ago, we learned the toddler has a 5-year-old brother who also lives in that home. He told police their grandmother pushed 2-year-old Sade Wilhite down the stairs because she was messing with the aquarium. The toddler went to the hospital where she later died.
She's not breathing. It's very cold.
911 calls came in after the toddler was found unresponsive in her home on O'Farrell Street. The 2-year-old's grandmother, 59-year-old Ruby Thomas, made her first court appearance today. Police charged Thomas with first-degree murder and intentional child abuse causing serious bodily injury. An investigation started on April 1st when officers got a call to the home. Investigators said the girl's 5-year-old brother told officers that his sister was throwing up in their bed. During the investigation, detectives determined she had been abused. Investigators said the girl's brother also suffered abuse in the home. Nikki Jenkins is the Child Abuse Prevention Coordinator with Family Services of the Piedmont. She says when they hear of situations like this, it's frustrating, but pushes them to work harder at bringing awareness to child abuse.
to get into some, even preschools, you know, talking to them about doing body checks on the kids that they see when they come in the mornings, and just reminding people of how important their roles are as caregivers and when you're working with children, and remind everyone that we're all mandated reporters.
Now, Ruby Thomas remains in jail without bond today. She was assigned a public defender and capital murder defender, which is typical when the death penalty is on the table.
And I'm hoping you guys can hear this audio pretty good. I want y'all to listen because I think they're going to let Grandpa speak again. And I want y'all to listen when this man describes this woman as one of the most evil people he has ever seen. Yeah, that woman is in her middle 50s.
Father, who is just furious, his granddaughter is gone.
The milk has gone bad.
But it's kind of puzzling to me. How can anyone, you're a human being, to do this to a little child?
A grieving?
He said, how can any human being do this to a little child? And I wish I could have enhanced the audio. He said, whatever they do to her in court is not bad enough. And I love how poignant he is with what he's saying. I absolutely love that.
It's not bad as mean as how she did the little girl.
He said it's not nearly as bad as what she did to that little girl. That little girl went through hell.
Little girl couldn't take up for herself.
The little girl couldn't take up for herself. Let me back that up because y'all have heard me say this plenty of times. These children can't speak for themselves, nor can they defend themselves against the tyranny of their caretakers. Y'all have heard me say that before, right? Listen to what he says.
It's as mean as how she did the little girl. Little girl couldn't take up for herself. She couldn't even run.
The little girl couldn't take up for herself. She couldn't even run. He said he's known this for a while. This woman is the meanest woman he's ever known in his life. Let me let you hear that again.
She was caring for her 2-year-old.
The thing that pains him the most is that this baby was crying and he couldn't get there quick enough to save her from the abuse of her grandmother. Isn't that something? That's sad. That is sad. And I totally feel him. Powerful words, and that's spoken like a true grandfather, and I'm so thankful to even hear his words on that. And I'm thankful that, you know, people are starting to speak up for our babies. I have no idea, like, when we became scared to speak out against people who hurt kids. Like, I just thought that that's like a normal thing, to the point where I get confused when people get to threatening me for the things that I say. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, I'm on the kid side. The babies can't speak for themselves. They can't defend themselves. So why get mad at the person who wants to see these children defended and want to see the people that hurt these babies and murder these babies for no reason? You could see the pain in that man's face. People like this. Life in prison, and for first-degree murder, if they can get her on that, because that would have to prove intent. And I hope that they could get that. I really, really hope that they can get that. Then if they have the ultimate penalty under law, which is the death penalty, I think that would suffice. There's no more reason for her to be existing on this earth for what she did to that angel. And let me get her back up on my screen. Sade Janelle Wilhite. And I hope that's how you pronounce her name. Sade. Yep, I think I got that right. Because they put the apostrophe at the E. Sade Janelle Wilhite. Young princess. R.I.P. That is such a beautiful baby, man. If I had 100 more me's, I'd say just give her to me. I'll take care of her. I'll raise her so she can grow up and become something great. And just when you raise children the right way, they're just so grateful. Like, I'm grateful for my parents. Like, you guys are grateful for your parents that allowed you to grow up and become something great. If you guys have a painful story of a grandparent abusing you, speak out against it. Don't be afraid and don't be ashamed to speak out against people who commit abuse against kids. We got to stop this psychological stuff and this generational curse. That's what we got to do. Leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think about this story. Thank you. Should grandma get the death penalty? I say yes. I mean, she's just not a good person, man. Just an evil person. She wanted that baby to die for no reason. A dynamic that I talk about on my show a lot, and I want to brace you guys before we even really get into this, is I tend to talk about mom and mom's boyfriend because it could be a dangerous combination, especially when the boyfriend doesn't show any love or priority to the children. It could be just a dangerous situation when you're inviting a person that you might fall in love with or you might want to be with, but they don't care about your children. So we've seen that happen in reverse a lot also, where dad's girlfriend can be bitter and jealous. And we've had some wild and crazy stories on this channel, but I think this is probably going to be at the top of the list when it comes to how hateful a girlfriend or a boyfriend can be towards your kids. And if you guys are listening to the sound of my voice, if y'all are dating and you got kids that live in your house, or you got them around your kids, I'm just saying, you might want to think twice, be more cautious. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. And Louisiana is going to have to take the L for this. As much as I love Louisiana, more specifically, I love New Orleans. I've been to New Orleans plenty of times. I'm probably due to go again here pretty soon. Go out there and get me some of that good food from some of them places out there. This is heartbreaking, and I'm getting this story from lawandcrime.com, so thank you for the article. A 43-year-old woman in Louisiana was arrested for allegedly killing her boyfriend's 6-year-old daughter. That beautiful angel right there. Beautiful eyes, just a bright, happy baby. Beautiful little girl, 6 years old. This woman is accused of killing this baby, stuffing the child's remains in a large plastic bucket. I gotta say that real slow. Stuffing this dead baby's body in a bucket. Do you know how screwed up in the head you have to be to do that? But it gets worse. It gets worse. She took the bucket, put it into a wagon, which you guys can see right there on the screen. And she took the wagon down the street to drop the bucket off at the little girl's mother's house. Tone of voice, I think you got that right. Louisiana takes a super L for this. I have just never heard of something this damn dumb. This level of dumb is just hard to reproduce. We've heard of a lot. Like, tell me, like, y'all, look, y'all probably watch a lot of true crime. You watch my channel. Y'all might watch other channels or maybe even watch First 48. Have y'all ever heard of something this stupid? This heinous, this mean? Like, there are levels. Like, we just talked about the grandmother that murdered her 2-year-old granddaughter for touching the side of a fish tank. And she beat her like she was in a fight for her life or something like that. This woman murdered a little girl, 6 years old. That's already bad in itself. That could be the period of that sentence. End of story. She went as far as to be so effing hateful that she took this angel's dead body and found a bucket and stuffed the baby in the bucket, closed up the bucket, took the bucket, picked it up, put it in a freaking wagon. Who has wagons anymore? I didn't know people still had wagons, but she had a freaking wagon. Then took the wagon and had the presence of mind to say that I'm going to take this wagon, this dead baby's body, in a bucket and walk this thing down the block like she's just going out for her morning run and dropped it off at the biological mother's front porch. God damn. I'm going to say this to the biological father, bro. You're going to have to take an L too. If you didn't know that this woman was this level of dumb and demented, you had to have missed some red flags. I don't think that this woman just snapped one day. And let me further explain what I mean. Because there's a history. And I don't think dad cut this off quick enough. I'm going to blame the dad too. The same way that I used to blame the moms for the moms bringing these evil boyfriend, these thug lions around the kids. Y'all remember that, right? Y'all remember that? Remember that? Well, what about when dad brings their children to the thug lioness? And the lioness decides to attack the child and murder and maul the child at the Thuggess Zoo. The woman's name is Hannah Landon, the girlfriend, and was taken into custody on Wednesday and charged with first-degree murder in the slaying of a little girl by the name of Bella Fontanelle. Wow. According to a press release from the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office, Bella's father on Wednesday morning awoke to find his daughter and girlfriend were both missing from his home in Harahan, about 10 miles west of New Orleans. Wow. 10 miles is pretty close to New Orleans, so that's probably just right on the outskirts. I'm pretty sure I've probably driven past there before. An older male child was still in the home and unharmed, according to JPSO. The father, at about 7:30 a.m., arrived at the Harahan police station and reported the two missing. Approximately 15 minutes later, police officers arrived at the father's home on Donnellan Drive and began investigating the whereabouts of the missing woman and child. At about 8:20 a.m., so just under an hour later, the investigation moved to the home of Bella's biological mother, located on Sedgefield Drive, which is only around the corner and less than 2 blocks away from Bella's father's residence. So dad literally moved around the corner from his ex and has his current girlfriend living within walking distance of his ex while his daughter is in his home. But it gets worse. At the Sedgeville location, officers discovered the little girl right there, her remains, inside a large plastic bucket in the front yard. Y'all hear me? The victim was pronounced dead at the scene. Police then contacted the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office, and the agency's Major Crimes Task Force assumed responsibility for the investigation into Bella's death, Sheriff John Lapino said in a statement on Wednesday. JPSO investigators say that they're quickly honed in on Landon, who the sheriff's office described as an Asian female that also goes by the name Bunak Lim, Bunnaklim, and Bunak Landon as the primary suspect in the case, so she could be going by a different name. While attempting to locate Landon, the sheriff's office obtained Ring doorbell footage. Do y'all want to see it? We've got the video, y'all, of her walking down the street like ain't nothing happened. It's disturbing on a whole nother level just when you know what she's hauling down the street and where she's headed to. The chilling video appears to show Landon at about 9:33 p.m. casually walking down the street with the wagon and a bucket in tow, making no attempts to hide the dead child, even while a white minivan drives right past her. We believe that Bella was killed in the father's house and then transported over to the mother's house, then taken out of a wagon, noting that they believe Bella was murdered Tuesday evening. Authorities conducted an autopsy on Wednesday afternoon and determined that Bella's manner of death was a homicide. The cause of death is being withheld for investigative reasons, according to the sheriff's office. But they said that Bella sustained multiple injuries prior to her death. Following an investigation and extensive interview with Bella's biological mother and father, authorities said that they do not believe either parent had a hand in their daughter's death. Let me say this because I don't think they're going to actually say it in here. I thought I read an article because I looked up a couple different ones. I thought they said that this woman choked the little girl to death. I don't know that for a fact, so don't hold me to it just yet. But I think she choked her to death. But we'll have to report that more accurately at a different time. As the search for Landon continued, detectives at about 2 p.m. on Wednesday were notified that Landon had been admitted to a local hospital. Authorities said that Landon walked into the Harahan Police Department sometime after midnight Wednesday morning and was eventually transported to the hospital for evaluation. It was not immediately clear why Landon was sent to the hospital, and Sheriff Lupino said that he would not disclose that information at this time. They're trying to see if she was insane, clinically insane, or there's something wrong with her. But, again, let me see. Does it say it here? It does not. It doesn't, but I've got some information on that. By Wednesday afternoon, authorities had obtained an arrest warrant for Landon on suspicion of first-degree murder and obstruction of justice. Upon release from the hospital, she will be booked into the Jefferson Parish County Correctional Center. Lupino said that Landon and Bella's father had been together for several years, though he would not comment on whether authorities had been ever called to their home. That's where that ends on law and crime. But on a different website that I read from, this woman, dad's girlfriend, and the biological mom had a long history of arguing and fighting with each other. From what I understand, they have a long history of fighting with each other, which I believe ultimately led to this, which should also mean that she's not going to be deemed clinically insane. She's going to be deemed to be a first-degree murderer. Let me give you guys the fair usage, because that proves intent. You intended to do this. You knew what the hell you were doing. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. And if you guys are listening to the sound of my voice right now, you could always help us out by clicking that thumbs up, share this video so more people can hear about this true crime story. But we definitely want to spread the news. Bella did not deserve this because she got caught up in the middle of the biological mom and girlfriend cat fighting, and it led to this. It's just a dangerous thing, man, when you have your kids around somebody that is not the biological parent.
Hi, y'all. Thank y'all for coming here this afternoon. I'm Sheriff Joseph Pinto, Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office. I'm here with the Harahan Police Chief, Ed LaPree.
I might go back to this video. Let me just skip to the ones that are a little more up front.
From Fox 8, this is breaking news. shock, but police say their investigation is far from over. Natasha Robert explains.
She had the biggest smile. It seemed to be, she was the first one that would approach you, and share and just giggle and how you doing.
The Harahan community is still reeling from the tragic death of 6-year-old Bella Fontanelle.
And I would see the little girl and her older sister out in the driveway playing many times, riding their little bikes, and the mother would sit out there with them. The grandmother and grandfather would sit out there with them, and it was just beautiful to watch them.
Investigators say her father's girlfriend, Hannah Landon, also known as Bunnick Landon, killed little Bella, stuffed her in a 10-gallon chlorine bucket, and left it on her mother's front lawn late Tuesday night. The sheriff's office says it recovered surveillance video showing Landon walking down the street that night with a wagon in tow, carrying the bucket. She's now booked with first-degree murder and obstruction of justice and is being held without bond.
We've been a small bedroom community for years. We average a murder once every 3.5, 4 years. And it's a tragic thing.
Harahan Police Chief Edward LaPrey says just after midnight, early Wednesday morning, Landon came into the Harahan Police Station asking for help.
Officer spoke to her. She seemed a little bit out of it. And they called to have her, she was asking for a transport. So they called for an ambulance to come pick her up. And once the ambulance came and picked her up, they transported her to a local hospital to be evaluated.
And that's where police say they eventually located and arrested her for murder. People who live near Bella's mother say they're in shock.
I thought everything was all-American, as you would say. I know she was working through a stressful divorce. She did share that. But it seemed to be, she was okay with it. I mean, she seemed to be moving forward with that situation.
But court documents show there was conflict between the mother and Landon or Lim dating back to 2021.
This is the part that I want y'all to hear. Check this out. This proves that they've been fighting.
In one incident, court documents show the two women got into a physical confrontation during a swim meet for one of the kids, and Bella's father had to intervene. Court documents show there was conflict between the mother and Landon or Lim dating back to 2021. In one incident, court documents show the two women got into a physical confrontation during a swim meet for one of the kids, and Bella's father had to intervene. Mother and Landon or Lim dating back to 2021. In one incident, court documents show the two women got into a physical confrontation during a swim meet for one of the kids.
A physical, so it went further than just words and disrespect. They physically fought. These are grown-ass women, allegedly mothers, fighting, physically fighting. And yes, I'm going to put some of this onus on dad. So if y'all want to get mad about that, I get it. But we're the people that believe, y'all can type in the comment section. Let me know what you think. That y'all believe that dad played some responsibility for this also. There's no way that he couldn't have helped prevent some of this. Let alone, if it's going to cost your daughter her life, then maybe you don't need to be having your girlfriend and the child's mother less than a whole street away from each other. Like, that don't make any sense. Gotta do better, man. And that's part of where, if it's gonna become dangerous for your kids, then maybe you don't need to be dating, dad. I've said that about the moms. You see how I'm fair, right? I'm pretty fair. If I can say that about the moms and having custody, those kids living in a home, and I say, well, damn, mom, maybe you don't need to be dating if you got to keep bringing all these strange men around your kids, then the same would apply for a dad who has custody of a child. Maybe you shouldn't be dating if this woman's going to be around your kid and you got this fussing and fighting. That was from 2021. That gave you 2 years. That this could have been prevented. You could have eliminated this in 24 months. That's ridiculous.
and Bella's father had to intervene. In another incident, the two seemed to scuffle during a soccer game. Chief LaPrey says the investigation into the little girl's murder is far from over.
We're going to work to the end to try to make sure we get a conviction. This is a small baby.
A new, endearing picture of Bella Fontenelle underscores the heartache of her loss. And even though this tough week is coming to a close, the police chief making clear the investigation into Bella's tragic case is far from over.
It's ongoing, and we'll leave it at that. The sheriff's office is taking the lead with it. Our detectives from Harahan are working closely with JP and to bring the person responsible to justice.
Investigators believe the girlfriend of Bella's father is responsible for her death. The suspect showing up to the Harahan Police Department after midnight Tuesday, speaking sporadically, the chief said, but giving no indication she might have just committed a crime.
Our officers spoke with her, did their procedures. They followed what they needed to do. We get multiple folks come in at night, and they interviewed her, and there was no indication, and she needed to be transported. She was looking for transportation to a hospital. They called for that service, and she was transported to a local hospital.
And the chief echoing the message of so many others, remembering a little girl taken far too soon in a tight-knit community that is rocked by the violence.
My heart goes out to this family, to this child. This is a senseless, evil event that should have never happened.
We are continuing to follow that story out of Louisiana about a little 6-year-old girl who was murdered, her body loaded into a 10-gallon bucket, loaded onto a little wagon, and then rolled down the street to her mother's house to be dumped on the lawn of her mother's house. That is little Bella Fontenelle with her sibling.
I just don't see how you can be that level of angry, that level of mad. You took it out on her child. You didn't even completely take the wrath out on the mom. You said, I'm going to hurt what would hurt the mom, the little girl who can't defend herself. Like that's just weak.
Bella is no longer with us because the allegations are that her dad's girlfriend murdered her, suffocated her, strangled her, stuffed her in the 10-gallon bucket that you would normally put like chlorine for a pool in, and then dragged her down the street and put her on her mother's front lawn. The woman who is accused now of first-degree murder and obstruction of justice is Hannah Landon. This is allegedly Hannah Landon walking down the street 2 blocks with that bucket. And there's the mugshot. At this point, all I can say, because police are saying so little, is that Bella's Aunt Bianca wrote this on a GoFundMe page set up by the family. She said, "Where do I start? My beautiful Bella, the world is so unjust. You were given to us for 6 amazing years. You were beyond perfection. Your beautiful little voice, your funny personality, the way you dance, the way you were so delicate and fragile, your smile, your laugh, the way you expressed yourself. I can go on and on about how amazing this little soul was." We're learning a lot about a troubled family dynamic between Bella's mom and the girlfriend of her dad. Apparently fights, at least 2 scuffles that had happened. Hannah Landon tried to get a restraining order and failed, and instead is alleged to have now murdered that 6-year-old girl. Thank you for watching. Go to News Nation now.
All right, here it is. Brace yourselves. Here it is. Let me rewind this. Matter of fact, I'm going to make it bigger on the screen so y'all can see it a little bit better. I guess that's about as big as I can make it.
Disturbing Ring camera video shows a parent's worst nightmare after a woman in Louisiana allegedly killed her boyfriend's 6-year-old daughter, put her body in a 10-gallon bucket, and left the little girl's body on her mother's front lawn.
The manner of death is homicide. She has multiple injuries, and I'm not going to get into details regarding the injuries because this is still a fluid investigation.
Officials in the New Orleans suburb of Harahan, Louisiana, call the incident a, quote, big shock to a small community. Wednesday morning, 6-year-old Bella Fontanelle's father reported his daughter missing. Hours later, the kindergartner's body was discovered in a bucket on her mother's front lawn.
When they opened up that bucket, they found the 60-year-old deceased inside that bucket. Turned into a homicide investigation. Obviously, at that point, homicide detectives from Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office were called out to the scene.
Investigators say the woman responsible for Fontanelle's death is her father's girlfriend, 43-year-old Hannah Landon, who also goes by the names Boonok Lim and Boonok Landon. Ring security video shows what appears to be the girlfriend transporting the 10-gallon bucket in a wagon.
Can y'all see that? I'm going to try to make it even bigger on the screen. I'm going to cover myself up so y'all can see this. Look at this. Like, she's just walking like it ain't nothing else going on that day.
Lim and Boonok Landon. Ring security video shows what appears to be the girlfriend transporting the 10-gallon bucket in a wagon.
We were able to find numerous video from different households in the
Year-old Hannah Landon, who also goes by the names Boonok Lim and Boonok Landon. Ring security video shows what appears to be the girlfriend transporting the 10-gallon bucket in a wagon.
We were able to find numerous video from different households in the neighboring area which showed her pulling a wagon down late last night with the bucket inside the back of that wagon.
Landon allegedly pulled the wagon down the street with no attempt to hide the dead child, even as a vehicle drives past her. Investigators believe Landon killed the little girl at her father's home and moved her body about 1 block away to her mother's house.
I mean, both him and the mother are certainly extremely upset, which you would imagine on any person that lost a 6-year-old.
Officials say they later found Landon at a local hospital, but did not explain why she was there. She was taken into custody and booked in the Jefferson Parish Jail. So far, investigators have not revealed a motive in this case, but believe that Fontanelle's biological parents were not involved in her death.
We ended up doing extensive interviews with both the mother and the father. The biological mother and the father, we do not believe that they are involved in any foul play involved with the death of Miss Bella Fontanelle, who is the 6-year-old that is deceased.
Landon is now charged with first-degree murder and obstruction of justice. Right now, she's being held without bond. Reporting for Law and Crime.
Man, you can't give this woman nothing other than the death penalty, like as a punishment. That is just... That's a level of evil. When I thought I've seen the top level, just add another, when they say it's levels to this, that's another level of evil that I didn't even know, like it's that deep. You couldn't have been that hurt, that mad, that anything, that you're just like, I'm going to one-up her and I'm going to murder her daughter, put her in a bucket, and I'm going to deliver her to the front yard. Boy. And again, I'm going to say this because we need to be thinking more forward, more outside the box. Biological mothers and biological fathers, we need to come together. We really do. And we need to stop being so selfish about our own personal pleasures. Like, this man clearly loved this woman more than I think that he even loved his own daughter. And I know that's probably a callous thing for me to say. But I say that because he already saw how bad these interactions were going. He saw these women getting hyped up and could have stopped this long time ago and just got rid of her. Ain't nothing about this woman more important than your daughter, dude. You get rid of the damn girlfriend. Gonna put your child, your legacy at risk? No, she'd have to go. Go on your way. Leave us alone. We got to raise this child. At least make sure that this child has an opportunity to grow up and become something great till they get grown, till they go off to college, get out there, get to working on their own. Now they're no longer in your house. Then go get your crazy girlfriend, and then y'all get to fighting and fussing when no kids are involved. And this is why I say maybe you shouldn't be dating when you have kids, and don't be bringing your significant other around your kids. If the dad had custody or dad had visitation or whatever the case is, don't bring your daughter around this woman. Around the girlfriend. The girlfriend doesn't share any DNA tie to this child, clearly did not care, and was willing to hurt that mother to no end. To I don't even know why. What would be the point in doing that? I don't get it. You won. You hurt her feelings more than she could ever hurt yours. Like, what do you get out of that? Life in prison. Maybe give it a death penalty. If they give it a death penalty in New Orleans, I don't know if I think they still do, if I'm not mistaken. Give her a first-degree murder conviction. That is clearly intent. Let me know what you guys think. Bella Fontaine, beautiful princess, deserves so much better. R.I.P. The parents did not put this baby as a priority at all. But let me know what you guys think. If I got something wrong, please let me know. Thank you. If that didn't blow y'all socks off, I just knew that when I saw that story, I'm like, I've got to tell y'all about this one. Crazy. Crazy, crazy. I know crazy is a dismissive term. I just think it fits here.